Hello everyone, and welcome back to Let's Play the Life and Suffering of Sir Brante with me, Alpha Pi Omega, and Rudolf Brante. So we are in chapter 4, at part called The Search for Evidence. I made some hot coffee, it's very late in the evening, so let's do this. Ideal setting, isn't it? The Search for Evidence. You are walking up the marble stairs that lead to the doors of the prefecture. The sword of the younger twin, carved from stone, looms above the doors, just as the case of Darius Othon now looms over you. Preparing this case will take many long months, or even years. The words of Prefect Elborn are evidence enough of that. And time and again you will ask yourself, are you ready to see this case through to the end? Father meets you at the stairs, and judging by the dour look about him, news of your most recent case has already reached him. Well, that's kinda interesting. Shouldn't we actually not speak about this with anyone? Robert. Son, I didn't want to discuss this back home. Elborn is our friend, and I stand by him at all times. But he's dragged you into something that is far too dangerous. I'm not going to repeat your grandfather's mistakes, so I won't tell my son how to live his life or what to do. But I ask you to please consider our family. Would it be worth it to let us come to harm, even if the triumph of justice and law is at stake? There are already rumors at the prefecture. They say you're getting ready to summon a highborn Arcanian to court. Soon these rumors will spread beyond the prefecture walls. Why? How did people learn from this? This is supposed to be a secret, isn't it? Why would anyone, the prefect himself or anyone else, speak about this? We actually went out and spoke about this outside so that no one would know. That's irritating. You and I are both Brantes. Perhaps we ought to stay away from something so dangerous. Some battles are too ugly for us to win. You can always slow down the process and bide your time with routine paperwork. Avoid attracting unwanted attention. This way your career and our family honor would not be at risk. Trust me in this, son. Rather than making a selfless sacrifice, we can achieve far more through tireless service for the good of the law. Well, that makes sense. You promise Father you will consider his words. You say goodbye and return to your office. You are at a crossroads. If you are to make any headway in the case against Othon, you have to start now, while the trail of his misdeeds is still fresh. Oh, quite honestly, I don't think Othon will stop at any moment doing stuff that he likes doing, like killing people for no other reason than that it's fun for him. You have little first-hand knowledge of Othon's criminal wrongdoings, only Thomas's stories and what you have seen for yourself. Turning this case into a trial requires far more evidence than that. Your friend could be the key to the entire case, if he can help you find the other men who have suffered under the remorseless Arcanian. But Thomas is a hunted man. He has every reason to lay low and steer clear of the courthouse. If Thomas can put you in touch with other victims and witnesses among the soldiers and officers of the Legion, perhaps you could gather evidence yourself. But the Legion may meet a lone outsider such as you with too much resistance. Things might get ugly. You consider your options. Apart from Thomas, who else could help you gather compelling evidence against the commander? Othon is an Arcanian from an ancient dynasty. Anyone involved will hold their tongue, no matter what. The way things are right now, not a single soul would risk angering the Othons to aid a middling judge from an unknown family, unless an even more highborn Arcanian chooses to support your case. Gaius Tempest, the Imperial Overseer of Magra, the Emperor's own brother. Every aristocrat in the province knows he detests Darius Othon for remaining loyal to Archduke Melanidas. Ensuring the Overseer's support would increase your authority greatly, and give you a chance to gather evidence against Othon without Thomas lifting a finger. But the Imperial Overseer is one step above the Prefect, your immediate superior. You can only address Gaius Tempest directly if you keep it a secret from Elborn. Communicating directly with the Overseer of the province means defying your loyalty to Elborn. Are you willing to do this? Puzzled, you start pacing around the office. It's time you decide how you will begin this case. Depending on what you choose, the case against Otton could lead you to unprecedented success, or end your career, or even your very life. Well, why can't we ask him? Oh, because we need reputation. And we need... Oh, we had a chance to improve our relations with Gaius Tempest before. Okay. Well, search for evidence on your own. That sounds like a wrong choice. Don't waste your time. Well, let's ask Thomas to help you gather evidence. That's the only way I think this can really work. Thomas is trying his best to keep out of Otton's way, but justice demands evidence, and so he has to help you gather it. You send Thomas a request to meet with you, fully confident that your friend will not turn you away. Thomas takes almost no time to reply, just as you expected. You meet at one of his favorite taverns in the Brass District. Thomas: honestly, pal, you gotta be as quiet as a temple mouse right now, or else His Excellency might remember I exist. But I guess there's no way around it, if it's the only way to get the bastard. It's a deal, Rudolf. I'll introduce you to all the Legion men I know. Down your glass and let's go. Together you visit a number of Legion officers who have already met a lesser death in a duel with Otton. All of them nobles of the mantle, ennobled only recently, young and full of potential to serve the good of the Empire. None of them are eager to speak of the duel. All of them are anxious to avoid getting challenged again. For many of them, another duel would be their last. Thomas: you have to trust us, please. I suffered at his hand just like you, but I won't let him get away with it. Don't you want the Arcanians to stop threatening us with violence all the time? All of us, you, all the fresh recruits of the Legion. Judge Brante is gonna see this through to the end. He's gonna indict him, and Otton's Arcanian ancestry isn't gonna stand in his way. Thomas' fervor tips the scales. His surviving brother-in-arms from the Legion finally agree to have their statements committed to ink and paper. Their testimony paints a picture. There's a method to Otton's madness, you realize. All of the officers disobey the commander at least once, or express their disagreement, no matter how respectfully. More and more officers are starting to realize that Otton's loyalty lies with Archduke Melanides and not his lawful superior, the Overseer, so more and more officers are getting challenged by Otton. Have Otton's duels gone beyond his passion for sword fighting? Were they just an excuse to eliminate any suspicion of his treason? Wait, what? Lies of Archduke. I was starting to realize that Otton's loyalty lies with Archduke Melanides, not his... okay, but that's, isn't that, a public knowledge? That's interesting. I thought that he was serving him. We all know that, right? Weird. The relatives of the officers who have met through death in a duel are the hardest to convince. Widows, mothers, fathers, they all say the same thing with the same grim expression. They have nothing to complain about. Nothing can be done anymore. The officer met his death in the line of duty, and that is all. But Thomas is persistent, and eventually he persuades them to admit that their husband and relatives all met their end at Otton's hand. In all those duels and deaths, you begin to notice a trend. None of them were sanctioned or monitored by the Court of Honor. Noble tradition demands that every sword fight be sanctioned by noble society and overseen by a representative of the Court of Honor. So Otton thinks himself above even the noble traditions of old? When all is done, you thank Thomas from the bottom of your heart. You would have never taken these statements without his aid. Thomas: it's nothing. We're friends, aren't we? It's high time someone put an end to his beastly behavior. I'll always be there to help you beat down that ugly brute freak. But I'd better lay low for now. If Otton hears of me snooping around with you and asking about his duels, it'll be curtains for me. The once thin folder against Otton grows fatter by the day as you write down every instance and incident, every name, every circumstance. One day, Prefect Elborn pays you a visit to see your progress firsthand. You've done a great work, Brante, says Augustin. Commander Otton isn't even bothering to cover his tracks, I must say. This evidence alone would be enough to indict anyone save for an Arcanian nobleman, sadly. So your work here is far from over. I see you realize that. The way things stand right now, summoning an Arcanian to trial in a court of law would indict us rather than him. It would be best to postpone the case for now, but keep the folder safe and secure. If we want to have any chance of getting him indicated in court, we need to make the nobles in the province recognize duels as act of murder. This means defying a tradition of old, a road perilous and seldom travelled. It means enforcing the rule of law over the ends of gentry. For now, Sir Brante, return to your other duties and pay particular attention to any dueling incidents. We will take our next step against Sir Alton when the time is right. Oh, okay. -1 with Thomas. But we have evidence against Alton. Event has happened. You now have evidence. You need to bring Darius Alton to trial. Okay. The justice requirements for Alton is sentenced, and the career requirement for Alton faces the Court of Honor are reduced by 1. Well, I think we already had enough, right? The justice... Stephen's Gambit. Oh, okay. Conditions met. Stevens Brante above 1 indifference. But I meant... Yeah, justice is 8, and I think we needed 7. And now we'll need only 6. So if you can keep it up high enough, it's gonna be fine. Stephen's Gambit. You have hardly found any time for family matters this year. The events taking place in the city keeps you busy at all hours. Tonight you come home extremely late, but the fireplace in the sitting room is lit. By the fire you see Stephen with a glass of wine. Your elder brother has been waiting for you. You take a seat in the chair by Stephen's side. Your brother keeps turning his glass with his long fingers. Stephen. Rudolf, we need to have a talk about Gloria. She flatly refuses to behave as she ought to. Her antics are ruining our family's reputation. If the situation persists, nobility of the sword will be out of the question. Brother, I do not wish her ill, but we have no right to sit idly by. Regrettably, Gloria will never truly be a part of the Brante family. Her origins are too tarnished, so it is our duty to find her a new family. It is high time Gloria got married. Interesting. But we can't just give our sister to a commoner, can we? And how could a noble wed her, knowing her origins? I have been stumbling block for a long time. It's been a stumbling block for a long time, but I finally found a suitable match for her. His name is José El Pelletier. He is a young nobleman of the sword, recently graduated from the college. I know that name, José El Pelletier. Didn't we meet him? Admirations. Yeah, we met him. Young nobleman of the sword. Where did we meet this guy? Received his education at the Imperial College. I think he was in some of our cases, wasn't he, or something? He's a young nobleman of the sword, recently graduated from the college, and now he has a position at the city hall. You recall a reception several years ago where he couldn't take his eyes off Gloria. Oh, it's this guy! I remember. He kept talking to her and, complimenting her. But she was really weirded out by him, wasn't he? Wasn't she? I'm sorry. I think she tried to avoid him. Pelletier has been obsessed with her ever since. Not even her lowly origins can deter him. Admittedly, Gloria does not reciprocate his affection just yet. So let us convince Gloria that becoming Sir El Pelletier's bride is her chance to escape her current situation, and then let us pray she comes to her senses and puts her rebellious ways behind her. Isn't that an ideal solution? After marrying El Pelletier, Gloria will be a noble woman herself, will be granting her the freedom she's craved since she was a girl, and then she can write poetry and do whatever else takes her fancy. They will enter into negotiations with the El Pelletier family. Rumor has it José's father already has a future wife in mind for him, the daughter of an important chancellery official, but José's passion must win out in the end, don't you agree? As for you, Rudolf, please help me with Gloria. You're the closest with her. You can make her see how beneficial this match will be. She must fulfill her duty to the family that took her in, after all. Stefan looks at you expectantly. You are at a crossroads. Will you accept your brother's plan or refuse him? Will this marriage be a blessing, and for whom? Well, that's fun. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I really like Gloria. I really like Gloria. Her whole arc here is about her tragic life and how she has been deeply hurt by her own family. Now the question is, would this guy be a suitable match for her? What do we know of him? Young nobleman. Agree. You will aid your brother in arranging this marriage. You will not participate in Stephen's. Now, okay, I'm gonna take this logically. Gloria is deeply unhappy in our home. She constantly fights her brother. She hates her lot. She hates her position. Now, would this be worse than living in a potentially loveless marriage? I don't think so. Literally millions of people lived in a marriage where they weren't in love, but this guy adores her. And it's a tragic truth that if you cannot be with someone you love, you should at least be with someone who loves you. So, we will agree. You remain silent for some time, weighing your decision. The plan your brother has proposed sounds reasonable. In a new family and with a noble title, Gloria would be able to put all the resentment about her fate behind her and be free of the limitations of the lonely estate. You let Stefan know that you are on his side. A broad smile lights up his face as he reclines in his chair. I knew you'd be sensible. Together we can certainly make it happen. But remember how stubborn Gloria is. An easy victory is not to be expected. The next morning you invite Gloria to join you in the library for a private conversation. You inquire carefully about your sister's thoughts on marriage. If a nobleman of the sword were to wed her, she would join the noble estate and all the arts would be open to her. Gloria laughs in response. Become a noblewoman. In all of Hadizet, you never find a single nobleman of the sword who would ever marry a low-born girl like me. I don't even have a father. You mentioned Jose El Pelletier. This spirited young gentleman would be willing to join Gloria in a wedlock. Marry El Pelletier? Rudolf, you don't understand. Sure, he's easy on the eyes. He's a skilled warrior and a respected nobleman, but he's been after me for a year now and I managed to figure out what he's after. He needs a wife to give birth to his heirs, follow him around obediently at social gatherings, and praise his chivalry. Can you see me in that role? Gloria falls silent for a moment, gathering her thoughts. Besides, I don't even want to be a noblewoman, okay? I can't just live peacefully within noble estate knowing that other commoners are still suffering. I can just pretend their misery has nothing to do with me. Well, you can help them. You can help them much more when you'll be a noblewoman than, just miserable commoner. I try to give her a taste of the benefits that a noble name brings, but your sister doesn't even want to hear you. This is all Stefan's idea, isn't it? You'd never throw me out of the house on your own, so hear this, it's not going to happen. Well, I'm not trying to throw you out of the house. But Stefan is. Later you inform Stefan that your sister has refused. His face turns to stone. The ingrate. I have almost come to an agreement with old Pelletier. All the plans we've taken to arrange her future, and this is how she repays us? Well, we'll proceed without consulting her. Brother, we need to devise a way to put pressure on Gloria, even if it takes us a long time. Oh, I don't like that. I don't like that. I'd rather much if she did this willingly. A realm unknown. The sun is setting on a cold, windy day as you return from the prefecture. To your surprise, a messenger awaits you at the door with an urgent letter from Sir Elbord. You open the letter. Augustine. Brante, there is an urgent case that I must entrust to you. We have just received a report of a secret society formed by young nobles. The Archduke's family may be involved. This concerns me. I suspect a possible plot to depose Overseer Tempest. Normally the secret chancellery handles all such cases, but I'd rather investigate the rumor of the plot before there is any action. Preventing unnecessary bloodshed and disgrace would be prudent. We are to investigate this matter as soon as possible. The gendarmes tracked down a suspicious nobleman by the name of Alexis L. Lance. Based on his confession, a meeting of the society will be held tonight. Unfortunately, this is all we were able to learn from him. The L. Lance family is of too high standing for more thorough questioning. I hope this is not the secret society that entertains some of the beautiful ladies of aristocracy, namely one blue one that I tend to mingle with. Fortunately, all members of the secret society wear masks when attending meetings. We have acquired L. Lance's personal mask and will ensure that he is late to the meeting. You should be able to impersonate him quite easily. You are to attend the meeting tonight and learn as much as possible about the secret society. This will allow us to foil a dangerous plot, or save many young people from the secret chancellery. The letter includes a delicate gilded mask of intricate workmanship. Fortunately, it fits your face perfectly. It seems your plan for tonight has changed. Following the prefect's instruction, you come at an appointed hour to an inconspicuous mansion at the edge of Anisot with a spacious yard and a tall fence around it. The gatekeepers bow and open the gate as soon as they see you. It seems the mask is enough to convince them you belong inside. Inside the yard you see noble carriages, many more than you had expected. You are ushered into a dressing room of sorts. A change of clothes already awaits you inside. It is a curious garb, a square of flowing, sparkling cloth with clasps and cords to keep it from unwrapping. You have never seen anything like it. With this strange robe and the gilded mask over your normal clothes and face, you cannot help but feel rather silly. This attire feels positively unsuitable for any kind of plotting or scheming. Next, you proceed to a large room. The windows are covered in black cloth to keep prying eyes away, but you forget about it moments later. What seems to be a strange performance is playing out before your very eyes. You hear droning, unfamiliar music coming seemingly from nowhere. You see candlelight dancing and glimmering. Ribbons of gold and silver are hung along the walls as decorations, and there are people, many people, like you, that are dressed in flowing robes and delicate gilded masks with narrow slits for eyes. The people are talking. They stand unexpectedly close to one another, their hands on each other's shoulders. You approach one of the groups, hoping to overhear the subjects of their conversation, but you almost recoil when several arms reach out at once, attempting to grasp you tenderly by the shoulder. Steeling yourself, you put a hand on another person's forearm. The masked people seems friendly and genial. No one appears surprised by your insecurity. And their conversation are also quite out of the ordinary. You hear unfamiliar names that could belong to legendary heroes of old, or to the people here who have taken them as secret identities. You hear mentions of books you do not know and emotions they felt while reading them. Their conversation feels like a strange dream. You hear several voices singing in a far-off corner of the room. There are no lyrics to the song. Each voice maintains its own note. Together these voices form a tender, softly aching melody. It feels enrapturing. It spirits you away. You feel so distant now from the purpose of your visit, so withdrawn from the judge's trade, so far away from the empire and from your very self. A hand touches your shoulder. Oh no! Bringing you back to your senses. A pair of familiar eyes look at you intently from behind a glinting greenish-silver mask. They belong to Octavia. You pull back and bow to the Archduke's daughter. I believe I recognize the man behind this mask. I never expected to see you here today, my extraordinary human. but I must behave here. You'd best do the same. We are not alone. It would be best if we are not seen too close to one another. As for this praise, Sir Brante, allow me to explain. This is my circle of Latari, and before you ask, no, we do not plot, nor do we scheme. We have removed ourselves as far as possible from such machinations. This place is a little world of our own, a brief respite from traditions and noble customs, and other such fuss. Our gathering is but a pretense, a game of make-believe. We pretend we are neither nobles, nor citizens of the Blessed Empire, nor humans, nor Arcanians, but the Latari. Do you know what that word means? I would not be surprised if you have never heard of the Latari. These people of Latari are mentioned only in rare historical works. Long before us, in an age when this land was fertile and green, the Latari lived upon the land that would become Magra. They were masters of a remarkable art. They could create worlds from nothing but their conscious minds. Many of these people come here for simple entertainment and a brief taste of freedom. Others seek a respite from the binding customs of the noble lot. Still, others feel encumbered by their blood ties and ancestral obligations. Only here are we fully free from the burden of our past and our present. Yet, some among us seek more than brief moments of freedom. They are drawn here by a fascination of the Latari and their idea that our entire existence can be shaped by the mind alone. We strive to know the Latari people for ourselves. We strive to continue their teachings. We strive to become them. If we happen to master the art of shaping worlds from our own minds, we may yet break free of the trap that is this harsh existence. Surprised by this, you ask her why she is telling you this so openly. She knows that the rituals of extinct races are held in the same regard as magic and punishable as such. In response to your question, Octavia suddenly takes off her golden mask and reveals a slight smile on her once hidden face. May your voice ne'er speak words of deceit. To great shame lies the path of untruth. Where an Arcanian lies, where a human denies, the Latari speak truly, forsooth. I'm not afraid. The truth of the Latari matters more to me than any persecution. You come here in secret and wearing a mask, which means the prefecture has taken an interest in my little gatherings. But I'm confident you will describe this as an innocent club of young nobles and keep our fragile world from prying eyes and ears. Would you do this for me, Rudolf Brante? These words spoken by Octavia sounds more like an assertion than a question, but you are in no hurry to respond. Your thoughts are tangled, lost among the echoing voices, fluid motions, and transcendent music. This gathering is in violation of the law. You cannot deny. All rituals of extinct races were banned at the foundation of the Empire. You may summon the gendarmes here at any moment. You need only give a sign to the driver, and when they get here, the circle of Vatar will be gone in an instant. You will prove to the city that not even the most noble of its denizens are above the law, but Octavia will never forgive you. You could, on the other hand, keep the circle of Vatar a secret from Elborn and report this meeting as a harmless gathering of young nobles looking for an opportunity to socialize. But if the secret chancellor ever takes an interest in these meetings, you will be powerless. Someone has already reported Octavia's circle to the prefecture. There is a very good chance these reports will continue. Perhaps if you tell Octavia of the danger she is facing, she will disband the circle herself. There is one more way you could resolve this predicament. With a piece of paper, some ink, and a bit of skill, the Circle of Latari could become a noble historical society, one of many dozen in Anisot alone, legitimized by the city. Octavia's gatherings would remain a secret within this mansion. But do you have enough influence to make this possible, and would it be wise to expend it in this way? Say something, Rudolf, Octavia says. This is no time to be quiet. The great mystery of Latari is about to begin. Keep their secret. Ban the circle. Convince Octavia to disband the circle. Legitimize it. Diplomacy above 15. I think we are deeply in love with Octavia by this point, yeah. Grown close and +4 affection. We're gonna legitimize the circle. For her, for our lover. You chuckle, shaking your head. How quaint. A group of nobles hiding from sight, wearing masks, studying the culture of a long-dead race. Has Lady Octavia never considered taking her historical studies a bit more seriously? Octavia's eyes narrow, trying to discern the meaning behind your words. There is a way to make the meetings of the circle fully legitimate, you continue. You have enough influence to get the papers they need and have them signed by the right people. Octavia's face lights up. She continues her half-finished thought right away. Indeed, my dear Sir Brante, welcome to a meeting of our Imperial Historical Society. Surely you would be so kind as to procure us a proper plaque for the door? You nod. With a genial smile, Octavia extends her hand to you. You take it and kiss it gently. Octavia, if only we were alone so I could show you the full extent of my gratitude. But the great mystery of the night is about to begin. You should leave us. You'll bring danger upon the circle if you're seen coming here again. You'd best get those papers prepared right away, kind Rudolf. The members of the circle are already gathering in the middle of the room, ready to begin their mysterious ritual. You feel dozens of eyes on you from behind the gilded masks. They will not begin until you leave the circle. Following Lady Octavia's suggestion, you change into your normal clothes and leave the mansion. The next day you report to Elborn and put his concern to rest. There was no sign whatsoever of any noble plot. The group is nothing but a historical society run by several young nobles who meet to discuss the cultures of old. They simply lack legitimacy, but you can rectify that. Augustine. This sounds suspicious, Brante, and the Archduke's daughter is involved. I hope you know what you're doing. Either way, I'm glad we didn't sick the gendarmes on them. I hope the Secret Chancellor and Sir Alfaro never learn of those reports. I doubt the advisor would be as tolerant as their youthful amusements. You assure the prefect that Lady Octavia's Historical Society will have all the permits they need to operate without arousing suspicion. And so the Anizod Historical Society for the Study of Ancient Peoples is founded. The City Hall wastes no time approving the necessary paperwork. Every official there knows that Judge Brante is a respectable gentleman with friends in high places. And your busy patrons pay no heed to the follies of the young nobles. Octavia sends you her reward in the form of a letter. When you open the envelope to read it, a gilded key clinks onto the floor. Rudolf, I'm impressed by your abilities. You know how to use your connections and bring me joy. It pleases me to know that I was right about you. A chest matching this key will be delivered to your estate tonight. Farewell, Rudolf. It will be some time before we meet again. I have much to do on my own. You cannot help but think of Octavia and those who followed her. They have dared to reject their nature, lot, and birth in an attempt to become something else entirely. But do they have what it takes to cast off the shackles of their existence? Or are they nothing but madmen who yearn for the impossible? As for Octavia and her circle of Vatari, you hear nothing of them for a long time. After that night, the Archduke's daughter seems to vanish from the social circles of Anizod. She has never been one to tell you about her plans. Our encounters with her have ended as abruptly as they had begun. +5 affection. Oh, okay. So she rewarded us greatly, and we have become a masterful diplomat. Nice. Or did we already have that? Lost a bit of willpower, but I got a bit of theology. We are now 25. Okay, well, I'm gonna read the next one in the next episode. Thank you very much for joining me, and I'll see you then.